Every video and episode of the It's Cavalier podcast is made possible by my supporters over on Patreon. If you enjoy the show here today, consider signing up. You'll get early access, exclusive videos, podcasts, member shoutouts, and more. And as always, thank you for watching. Welcome to an early edition of the It's Cavalier podcast. It's your boy, Mac. I didn't think I'd be going live today, but I had to considering the circumstances. Look, if you have not been paying attention or if you've been living under a rock, the Cavaliers Summer League roster has just been announced within the last 30 to 45 minutes or so, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a doozy, right? I mean, we all expected this to be one that was filled to the brim with some talent, some prospects that had some potential, some that we're familiar with, others that we're not so familiar with. And there were some notable exclusions. I got to be honest. The names that were missing from this list, I'm a little disappointed about, but I understand either way. This is just Summer League after all, but nevertheless, it is basketball, and I'm excited about the return of Cavalier basketball in some form or fashion, right? Some capacity. It is always nice to see some of these young guys go out there and play. And when you look at the roster, I'm going to throw it up on screen as soon as I can, but when you look at the roster as a whole, it leaves no stone unturned in terms of some of the different prototypes that you will see out there. You have a laundry list of players out there that I feel like could be beneficial for Cleveland. And you know what? It just goes to show you that this league, man, there's so much talent in this league, and not everybody is going to make it. So let me go ahead and see if I can get that on screen. But man, oh man, it makes you really question which one of these guys could potentially take the next step. Right off the bat, one of the names that you probably see there is none other than Craig Porter Jr. I'm actually a little surprised to see Craig there, considering that he's competed there the last couple of seasons. That he is entering his third NBA season, if I am not mistaken, and he has taken certain steps forward in other areas, not so much, but it is always going to be good to see what he has worked on throughout the duration of these last couple of weeks and really the year, because Craig was playing pretty sporadically over the course of the 2024-25 season. It's not like he was an everyday player. He would see burn if somebody was out or if the Cavaliers were up big. There were certain reasons to play him, but more often than not, Craig Porter Jr. just did not see a lot of time, to the point where he averaged 3.7 points, 1.3 rebounds, 1.4 assists in 51 appearances this season. He did shoot fairly well, right? 51.4%. Maybe that's putting it mildly. That is efficient, but in terms of volume, it just wasn't there. Volume in terms of some of these percentages is very important. Just 2.7 attempts from the field, not 3-point distance from the field. And if you're talking about 3-point distance, which is an area that Craig obviously needed to work on, he did shoot 43.8% from the field. But again, volume is called into question there too, at less than a full attempt, 0.9 attempts per concept. So did he really improve, or was it just a percentage skew type of situation? I don't know. I'm trusting and believing that Craig truly has improved, especially with that step back J. That is something. I think I put a highlight reel montage together of all of his career step backs, and it was a nice watch. It wasn't long, but it was a nice watch. And I think he is actually shooting 50% on step backs in his career, and now he is a career 40.2% shooter from 3-point range. So I'm interested to see what other things that Craig Porter Jr. has worked on since the year ended, and hopefully this will be a good opportunity to be able to go out and watch him do his thing in a less pressurized environment, obviously. Now, some of the other names that we're familiar with, right? You have Naquon Tomlin, who I'm really, really pulling for. If you guys don't recall, Naquon actually played in 5 games this year for the Cavaliers, where he averaged 7.2 points, 4.2 rebounds, and did show a little bit of semblance of a 3-point shot, something that he had been doing at the G League level as well. And he's on a 2-way contract. So he is one of those guys where I honestly feel like he has the potential to be a potential Dean Wade replacement. And that is not set in stone, obviously, but I do like what he offers in terms of that rebounding. I do think that the confidence is there to take that shot, and the size is obviously a plus, as Nae'Qwan is listed at around 6'10", 205 pounds. So we would like to see him put on a little bit more muscle, a little bit more weight to compete out there if he's going to see minutes at the 4 at the next level. But Naquon Tomlin is a promising young talent, a guy who actually just does not have a lengthy basketball career. We all know that he kind of started late, having stints at Monroe Community College, Chipola College, Kansas State, and then Memphis before latching on with the Cavaliers at the G League level, right? And then eventually a 2-way contract. So I do legitimately like the potential that Naquon Tomlin possesses, and I'll be keeping an eye on him most definitely. Jaylen Tyson really needs no introduction. He was the Cavaliers' 20th overall pick just last season, and he showed a lot of promise in the extended time that he did see, but the stats are not going to pop off the charts, right? 3.6 points, 2 rebounds, shot 43% from the field, including 34.5% from 3-point distance and 79.2% from the charity stripe in 47 appearances last year during his rookie season. And again, there were moments throughout the 2024-25 campaign where I'm like, man, this dude has it. He could potentially be a rotation player on a playoff level team. And there were different points during the season where you saw that, whether that be his 16 point, 11 rebounds, 7 assists stat line that he showcased against the New Orleans Pelicans back in November of last season, or the 31 points that he dropped on the Indiana Pacers in the final game of the regular season, right? Or even the Atlanta game where he had 15 and 5. He would end up scoring in double figures 4 separate occasions last year, and he only logged, if I'm not mistaken, 16 games with at least 10 minutes per game. So that should tell you everything you need to know. Jaylen did not get extended run last year, but it is worth noting that in the time that he did and the occasions that he did kind of make the best of those. So I'm very interested to see what he does during this time around during summer league, because I do believe that with Isaac Okoro on the move in that Lonzo Ball trade, and with Ty Jerome no longer in the building, and Lonzo Ball still kind of being a question mark in terms of health, and Craig Porter Jr. still not necessarily being solidified yet, I do think there is a role here for Jaylen Tyson if he is able to take it. And I think the question for him is where? Like, what is the position? Are you playing him up a size? Are you giving him real minutes at power forward? Is he your heir apparent at small forward minutes for the likes of Isaac Okoro? Are you going to use him in the same ways that you use Karis LeVert, playing the 2, the 3, and even some small ball 4? That's really the question in reference to Jaylen Tyson. Like, where are you playing him at? And for me, I think you got to go with the latter option, the Karis LeVert level role. But it always helps to have a guy that is this versatile, that can contribute if need be in multiple positions. So keep an eye on Jaylen Tyson during Summer League. Let's see what he has worked on. Elsewhere, you have some new additions, guys that I've already released videos on, the likes of Norchad Omier. Now, Omier, when you really look at and dive deep into what he was able to do at the collegiate level, he suited up for like 3 different schools: Arkansas State, Miami, Baylor. And the one thing that really sticks off the stat sheet with him, and on the film in particular, is his rebounding chops. Like, this man, he is a quality rebounder at 6'7" or so. 10.9 rebound average at the collegiate level through 155 appearances, 10.8 just last season for Baylor. And he put up a double-double, 15.7 points, did so on an efficient 55.6%. And there are some semblances of shooting in his game, not necessarily efficient, but he is attempting the shot, which is going to have to be probably the norm at the NBA level for him. He shot 29% from three-point distance in his final season at the college level, but he is a career 31.4% shooter from three-point range. So it's in his game. I think that can be fine-tuned. We have seen that with wings and, bigger wings or undersized bigs. And to be honest with you, I'm not really sure how he, in terms of positional fit, how they are going to elect to play him. Even at Summer League, I would consider him a big at this point in time, maybe undersized, but he certainly has the athletic ability out there, the talent to go out there and hustle on the glass. So that is definitely something that I would be very interested in seeing. If the Cavaliers they still have the final two-way spot open, and he is on an Exhibit 10 contract. So if they go the route of converting an Exhibit 10 this time around, you would be there are worse fates than signing or converting the Exhibit 10 contracts of Norchado and Beer with that final spot. And elsewhere, you have Chaney Johnson, another Exhibit 10 deal that was handed out post-draft, 6'7" guard forward out of out of Auburn. Just had 73 years, Jesus. He's got 73 games of experience at the college level, and he did a couple of different things well at the college level, but the thing that really kind of pops off to me is the athleticism with him. But I think a lot of people consider Chaney Johnson kind of a tweener, because it's not necessarily like he shot the ball all that well at 29.4% from range, and he was efficient from inside the three-point line as a career 54.4% shooter, but nothing really pops off the stat sheet in terms of what you're seeing for Chaney Johnson. So you're really going to have to evaluate him closely, because to be honest with you, I'm just not sure what the Cavaliers are thinking with that archetype. But again, they have a spot, they have a two-way open, so bring in as many bodies as you can. This is why you have those Exhibit 10s, and see what comes of it. Elsewhere, in terms of some of the talents that have been brought in, you see the name right there, Jackson Robinson. That's somebody who I think actually has a lot of potential to be somebody that could fit in on the back end of that Cavalier bench, not even just as a two-way, but I like the ability, the volume shooting that Jackson Robinson showed both on the film and on the stat sheet. He's a career 35.1% shooter from deep, 37.6% from range this season. But the volume is really what stands out to me at 6.9 attempts per game in his final season at Kentucky. And he's another one of these like fifth-year senior guys who suited up for like 3 or 4 different schools at Texas A&M, Arkansas, BYU, and then Kentucky. So loads of experience, 120 games at the college level on paper. Did kind of experience a wrist injury, if I'm not mistaken, that cut his time short there. But he's got some of the things that you would love to see. Size at guard, 6'7" or so, about 195 pounds. Definitely somebody that you can see contributing at the next level, although he didn't, play. He didn't finish out the final season at Kentucky. He did play 28.1 minutes per game off the bench. So, he started at Kentucky. But I think that what he brings to the table is something that could certainly translate on the back end of that bench as you look to add more, like even more size to your backcourt if you're going to play him at the in the wing group. So I definitely like that addition. You have obviously the Cavaliers' second round picks in Tyrese Proctor. I think we're all excited to see what this young man can bring to the table. Doesn't really need an introduction. You probably already have found out everything you need to know on Tyrese Proctor. Spent 3 seasons at Duke this year, would finish in his final season shooting well over 40% at 40.5% from deep and on 5.8 attempts, and is a career 36.5% shooter. Now, the thought process, and I think this is where this all kind of threw us a collective loop. When Tyrese Proctor was drafted, there were many people, including myself, thinking, okay, this could potentially spell the end for one Sam Hoskins Merrill, but obviously we know that is not the case now, as Merrill is picked up or re-signed rather, and will be the Cavalier returning instead of Ty Jerome. So Proctor, his role, at least in year one, is going to likely be hit and miss. It'll be up and down. I don't think he is going to enter the 2025-26 campaign playing heavy minutes in the rotation, if at all. I just think that with some of the moves that they've made, bringing in Lonzo, bringing in Larry Nance Jr., two players, I campaign for very, very loudly. I just don't know. And with the return of Merrill, I just don't know if there is a spot in the rotation to begin this season for Tyrese Proctor. But there is enough there that if one of those players is struggling, namely Sam, you can throw Max Strus into this. If he slides to the bench in any event, when Darius Garland returns, I'm assuming that DeAndre Hunter is going to be in the starting lineup, but nothing is penciled in just yet. But in a perfect world, he probably doesn't play in year one. If there is an injury or if somebody is struggling, i.e. Merrill, i.e. Lonzo, and on, Max, yeah, there's a real path to minutes for Tyrese Proctor, as he has shown to be a valuable shooter at the collegiate level. And I think that a lot of the things that he brings to the table, the Cavaliers are going to be able to make use of in years to come. Now, at the same time, you also want to understand that the Cavaliers are in a spot right now where they have to balance player development with winning, which is always a difficult thing. There's a conversation to be had of, okay, how exactly do you do that? Do the minutes come in blowouts? Do you have scheduled losses like back-to-backs where you're not playing a regular member of your rotation? Is it strictly due to injuries, which we know it will happen at some point to somebody? How do you balance player development like at the NBA level with winning? That is always a difficult thing. I trust Kobe Altman and company to be able to do so, but I do not expect a lot of minutes at the NBA level for Tyrese Proctor, at least initially. I think he has what it takes, though. And then Salu Niang, who was the late second round pick with the 58th overall, a player that honestly, I was not necessarily too high on the idea of bringing in a wing with that final pick. You guys know I wanted to go big, but with the addition of Larry Nance Jr., that makes me feel a hell of a lot better about Salu Niang, a player that is obviously going to be drafted and stashed. We're probably not going to see him in a Cavalier capacity outside of these very circumstances, Summer League, for at least another 2 years. At least that is the understanding that I have right now. So I'm actually interested to see what he looks like on American soil, what he can bring to the table at the NBA level to a degree. So I'm obviously happy to be able to evaluate what he can bring to the table. Some of the other names you may or may not recognize: Denver Jones. You have Darius Brown, who's a return. If I'm not mistaken, it was actually kind of stuck out a little bit for the Cleveland Charge last year. And I do believe that he was at Summer League with Cleveland last year as well. He is somebody that is returning. You have Tristan. Honestly, I'm not even sure how to pronounce his name. Tristan Inaruna. I'm not sure. Maybe you guys can pick me up a little bit with that one, but honestly, I'm not well versed in Tristan's game. Apparently, 6'8" guard out of Cleveland State. Spent 5 years at the college level, so another fifth-year senior, 2 with Kansas, 1 with Iowa State, and then 2 with Cleveland State. So, hey, maybe that's something, some home ties right there in Cleveland. And he's got the size at 6'8", being 200 pounds or so. So that is definitely somebody that probably they'll be keeping their eye on as a 2-time All-Horizon Conference teamer. And I think that anytime you can bring somebody in that is accomplished like that at the NBA level, I love it. I love it. I am right on the edge of my seat in regards to Summer League. Frankly, I can't wait, because ever since this season ended the way it did with Indiana putting an end to the Cavaliers, like what was such a hopeful season, such a great season in terms of their chances to compete for a title, it left such a bad taste in your mouth that you're so ready to see Cavalier basketball in some form or fashion. And that is a place that I find myself in right now. And what better place to begin with Summer League and evaluating some of this young talent that you'll be able to see. And I think one name that I left off this list here, Caden Shedrick, that is also a name that probably should familiarize yourself with. Again, he was not brought in, if I'm not mistaken, on a Exhibit 10 contract like some of the others, but he is also somebody that features some size out there, 6'11", 216 pounds or so, is a decent rebounder. And there's a common theme that I'm beginning to notice about some of these players, or many of them actually, and that's that a lot of them are fifth-year seniors. I don't know if you guys have drawn that parallel yourselves, but there are a lot of fifth-year seniors that are suiting up for Cleveland's summer league team this time around. So that is also quite a quite a thing to take note of. But let me know who you guys feel most excited about watching in the comments below. I think right now is probably the best time to talk about who is not on the roster. Nowhere on this roster will you find one Khalifa Diop. Y'all know. Let me remove this again. You guys know how much I've been shouting it from the rooftops for a couple of years now, how much I wanted Khalifa Diop to work out, how much I wanted to see and track his progress. I released a video about him last year or so, I think. But for me, you did not draft a big, right? Bringing in Larry Nance Jr. was a very solid move. Somebody who is versatile enough to play the 4 and the 5. He's played more 5 than anybody. Played more 5 than anybody that the Cavaliers currently have on the bench available to them. So that is definitely somebody that I feel like can be a playoff rotation big. And make no mistake, nobody that the Cavaliers drafted this year was likely to be in the rotation. But one prospect that I really wanted to see, like how far he had come, it was Khalifa Diop, and not seeing him on this list, that kind of sucks. Honestly, I'm not sure why. I don't know if the Cavaliers had just kind of given up on the dream there with Khalifa Diop, or if they just don't like the progress that they've seen with him overseas in Spain. I don't know if it is an injury, but for whatever reason, he is not on this list. Somebody else that is not there is Luke Travers. Now, I believe that Luke Travers, this was already pre-orchestrated. I was not privy to it, but it was already something that had been something that had already been reported on. So I'm not too surprised that Luke Travers is not suiting up. But to me, I'm okay. Like, there's nothing I think that at the summer league level, at least, that I could have seen out of Luke that would have changed my mind one way or another. Because the one area that I really wanted to see him improve upon after watching him in his rookie season was the 3-point shot. Like, over with Perth and Melbourne United of the NBL, those two teams, he was up and down as a perimeter shooter. He has glue guy written all over him, though. Like, I truly believe he could be a poor man's Kyle Anderson. And maybe that name doesn't really sound like anything flashy, but we got to remember, Kyle Anderson has carved out a decent career at the NBA level. So I think that if Travers can really, really begin to show some type of consistency in regards to that 3-point shot, that there is an NBA future there for him. But again, it's all up in the air. I just don't think that would have been, I don't think we really would have gotten any more of an answer than we kind of already have in watching him play at the summer league level. And I get that Craig Porter Jr. is there. I understand that Naquon Tomlin is there. I definitely do. But for Travers specifically, having played so much time overseas and then finally coming over last year, I don't know like if I would have been any more confident in his shot actually dropping at the NBA level by playing in summer league. So we'll have to see what happens with him. But those are the two big ones right there. Now, obviously, Emoni Bates was not tendered a qualifying offer, so you do not see his name here as well. And Emoni's future in Cleveland is in heavy doubt. As of right now, he is a free agent, and some people believe that that is a big mistake, frankly, that he wasn't or hasn't been brought back in some capacity. But I'll just say this. I believe in the long-term potential of Emoni Bates. I truly do. I do think that he has at least one NBA level, NBA caliber skill, and that is off-ball shot making. I do think that Emoni Bates, given a fair amount of minutes, given some time, because he's only 21 years of age, if given time to develop, he can morph into a dependable role player at the NBA level. But the Cavaliers just have, for whatever reason, they have not seen that from him. Like, in terms of the percentages at the G League level, they were atrocious. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can't really debate that. He has not shown efficiency at even the G League level. He has not shown efficiency in the very limited time that he has seen on the NBA hardwood. But the totality of what the Cavaliers have seen from him did not lead them to believe that he was worthy of receiving that final two-way spot, because Tomlin's got one, Travers got his offer, and Vegas hasn't. So I don't think it's crazy to think that Emoni Bates' time in Cleveland is over. Maybe he latches on with another team that can afford him the ample opportunities that he needs to develop. Because truth be told, I just don't think that's going to happen in the G League. I think he actually needs to see NBA level minutes in order to actually become a decent role player at the next level. I just don't know if that's going to happen, and it certainly does not look to be the case for the Cavaliers, because as a championship contender, you're not likely to offer but more than 1 to 2 players a real opportunity to crack the rotation. And for me, for my money right now, that is Craig Porter Jr. is probably going to have a real opportunity to really make some noise on that second unit, or rather in that second unit. And Jaylen Tyson is the other one that comes to mind. Naquon Tomlin is on the fringes. Should anything happen with Dean Wade, I think Naquon Tomlin's probably first one up, and then you go from there. I just don't. And Tyrese Proctor, right? Tyrese Proctor is probably going to get opportunities throughout the year to show what he can do, but none of these guys is a lock. I think that Tyson and Craig Porter Jr. is close to it as it gets from the Summer League roster, but everybody else, they're kind of fighting for spots on the Cleveland Charge team, with the exhibit 10s that have been handed out to Johnson, to Omir, and to Jackson Robinson. Those have the opportunity to be converted to two-way contracts. So the thought process is that if you are going to convert one of those deals, it's got to make sense from a positional standpoint, at least in my opinion. I think for me, the one as of right now that I would like to see converted is Norchad Omir, because I think that rebounding, that is too good not to be true. Like, if there's one thing that he can bring to the table, it's got to be high level rebounding. He did it every year at the college level, and he seems to have the athletic ability to bring that forward. So it's just a two-way deal, right? Why not convert the exhibit 10? And I think that's the plan. Like, not necessarily him, but to give each and every one of these exhibit 10s, and to a larger extent, everybody that they're going to see at Summer League that is not already on a standard deal or a two-way contract, to have that opportunity to compete for the final spot. Or maybe it'll be somebody that we don't know about. Maybe it'll be somebody that has that's not on the roster, or maybe somebody that another team releases and Cleveland's like, okay, this dude has some promise. We'll go ahead and throw the two-way at him. But as of right now, I think it's got to be Omir. That's who my money would be on for the exhibit 10s, at least. And that's no disrespect to Jackson Robinson or Chaney Johnson, because I do believe that Jackson Robinson, like that shooting, that volume shooting that he has, the creation on the wings, that's something Cleveland could use, especially as a depth piece. And because I keep putting out these free agent videos, and one of the things I keep hearing from people is, oh, well, whoever they sign is going to want to play. They're not going to sign for a veteran minimum. Well, no shit. I think that people have to understand that nobody signed with that 14th spot is obviously guaranteed a role. The other is that you want everybody who signs to want to play. You, like that 14th man, you want somebody to go out there that actually wants to play. You want somebody to sign that they know they're sacrificing an everyday role for the chance to potentially compete for a title. And maybe you might see an opportunity every now and then. That's what you're looking at with that 14th spot. I know that's a completely different conversation, but the same rule applies here. Like, you want all these young guys to work hard, and I'm just very, very interested to see what the Cavaliers end up doing in terms of the direction with that last two-way contract. Don't get me wrong, I'm still dropping the free agent video, still looking forward to seeing who they bring in. I just dropped one earlier on today about Amir Coffey. I think he would be a great fit with the size and athleticism that he has, along with that three-point shot. That would be a great one to me for that 14th spot, if you can sell him on the idea of of not necessarily being an everyday player like he has been over the last couple of seasons. So I don't know. We'll see. But this genuinely excited me because I was not expecting it at the time that it did. I know a lot of other teams had gone ahead and dropped their rosters, but with Summer League play beginning on July 10th, this was a great time to do it right before the holiday. And I love some of these names that we see that we see on here. Sucks that we don't see Diop. Not sure what's going on there, but I'll be paying attention regardless. So let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. Obviously, make sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you want to support the pod in any small but helpful way, consider becoming a contributor over on Patreon. You can do so for as little as $1 a month. You can also do the very same on YouTube, either one. But even if you don't, I'll still be here making the content because I love the Cavaliers. Favorite team. Go Cavs.